Hey folks, welcome back to my channel Relationship Haven. I hope you all are having a wonderful day or evening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Now let's get into today's story. My wife, 28 of 2 years, has done a complete 180. In the past few weeks, she went from someone who was loving, focused on starting a family and completely trustworthy to someone who has lied, deceived me and blames me for her infidelity. It all started 3 weeks ago. I was riding high. I thought our relationship was going great. We were talking about getting another dog and our honeymoon plans since the pandemic wrecked the initial plans. Then Friday hit. I could sense something was up and even mentioned it to my mother on the phone. I don't know what's going on. I just have a bad feeling about my wife. I said. Then that night she texted me, "I just need some space tonight. I know you won't like it, but please respect my decision." She then proceeded to turn off her phone and she said she slept in her car in a vacant lot. When she came home, I was understanding but stern that this sort of thing could never happen again. But she had completely changed her mindset on life itself. She wanted no kids and wanted out of the relationship. The most telling thing she said was, "I fear that we will cheat on each other in the future." Many things happened since then, including her leaving the state for 2 weeks because she needed space. Last night, I found that she had spent the night at her instructor's house after going to a movie theater. I also found a picture of the two of them. The worst part is I was the one who had encouraged her in his career and she never would have met the guy if I hadn't introduced them. I have yet to confront her. But I am currently putting all the puzzle pieces together about this whole situation. She is basically blaming me for all these issues that we are suddenly dealing with, saying she doesn't like the way I talk to her, that I'm controlling and that I call her names. I have done deep soul searching these past few weeks to try and understand what I could have done to cause this. But her accusations are unfounded. I encouraged her to get mental health help, which in her mind equated to calling her names. I stressed the importance of communication when she shut off her phone. But she said that is controlling, even though I didn't stop her from spending 3+ weeks away from home. Finally, she had these recordings of me without my knowledge and thought that they were proof that I mentally abused her. I played these for my counselor and he disagreed that there was any sort of abuse in the recordings and was actually impressed with how calm and collected I was in the discussion anyways. None of these things are excuses for cheating and the way she has been treating me. I guess I am at the investigation stage, still trying to let her make her own choices while I gather the data. It's tough though. And the person I once loved more than anything has completely wrecked our entire life together in 3 short weeks. I am at a loss for words about how I feel right now. I've got a great support system and loving parents, but now I know how heartbreak feels and I never want to feel this way again. Update: finally had a discussion with my wife, but she insisted her parents be in the room. We talked and she was nasty to me and showed not one bit of remorse or empathy. Even when I broke down and spilled my heart out to her. The next day, she went to my house and I finally was able to be alone with her. I confronted her about the inappropriate relationship and she again got her parents involved and her mom defended the affair with ridiculous excuses. Currently no contact with her. But I have seen a change. The shift has happened. I went 180 on her after I found out about the affair and she has started to flounder. Her parents came to town last Wednesday and I finally was able to get her to have a discussion with me. I decided against revealing the affair with her parents in the room, but I caught her in multiple lies in our discussion. My tone was calm and very apologetic for the things she accused me of. The discussion was very hurtful as she essentially said that ever since the day we got married, I hadn't treated her right and she had wanted out. She never mentioned this to me during our entire relationship until now. She continued to accuse me of essentially emotionally abusing her by twisting my words from our previous discussions. And luckily my mother was there. She ended up calling her out on her lies because my mom was in some of those discussions. She was referencing the 2 biggest things that kept me strong through that discussion were: 1, not expecting any sort of reconciliation or remorse, and 2 having a plan of attack for the encounter. I wanted to publicly in front of her parents reveal how childish and mentally unfit she was when she was making these wild accusations while protecting my character, and stressed to her father the need to get her to a therapist or counselor and have her work on her issues. The discussion ended with my wife storming out of the room with her mother. Her father stayed behind me and my mom. His emotions were genuine and very telling about the whole situation. He sat there and the first words out of his mouth were tearful. "I'm sorry, man," a father looking for answers as well. He told me that it hurt because he considered me his son and that he always would. This obviously made me very emotional as I told him, "I love your daughter and I just want her to be healthy. But at this point, I just need to let her go." I told him about the affair and what I knew, and he understood where I was coming from. I stressed the need for her to have consequences for her actions as she has had none so far, even further. I stressed the need for her to see a therapist and he said he agreed and that he has been trying to get her to go but to no avail because of my 2 goals above. Even though this discussion was not all peaches, it satisfied what I went there to do. And I actually felt much better knowing that I had a father-in-law who understood what was going on. Then the next day came. I went home from work and my wife was moving some of her things out of the house. I wanted to be there so that I could make sure she didn't steal anything of mine. I actually fixed a part on her car and we had a calm talk about her future plans. She told me she was going to keep working for how much time she has left the job. I can't believe they are keeping her around. She said she was going to try and earn her ratings and wanted to become a flight instructor. I asked where she was going to live. And she said, "In RV park, my parents are going to give me their RV." At that point, I told her, "I just don't understand why you were doing all this. It doesn't make any sense." She said, "I'm just so happy at the place where she works." I then asked, "I just want to know, are you having an inappropriate relationship with AP?" She wouldn't look me in the eye. She said, "No, of course not." I told her I knew and had evidence. I mentioned a couple of events. "What were you doing last Wednesday night? Who do you talk to for 90 minutes at 11 p.m.? When you were at a bachelorette party in June?" I then showed her the call history and she actually openly showed me it was a PS number in her phone by text me out. But she kept deflecting the accusation. I stayed strong and calm and told her it would get easier if she told the truth. I was witnessing a 28-year-old woman acting like a child who was just caught in a lie. The real kicker came when she asked if I wanted to get her parents involved. I questioned why she would do that. But I said, "Okay." Immediately before I even showed any evidence, her mom started making excuses for her daughter. "Maybe it was a dare call and this was already after you were having problems, wasn't it?" "No, it wasn't." I calmly said to her mother, "Can you look at this objectively and tell me there was no inappropriate relationship going on?" Her mom refused to answer and said I was trying to manipulate her into saying something just like I manipulated her daughter when they ran out of excuses. All 3 of them stormed out of my house and her mom said, "I hope you don't treat the next girl like you did my daughter." What a screwed up family dynamic. Her dad said nothing the whole time, but I could see he was absolutely beside himself in dealing with both of them. Eventually, my wife sent a text to me saying AP is one of my very best friends. I was really hurting and we were separated at the time. No, we weren't. She basically admitted to the cheating. She said she wanted to talk with me about it with her lawyer in the room. I told her that I wouldn't recommend getting lawyers involved, seeing as she had committed multiple felonies by recording me without my consent. I haven't talked to her since Thursday, but the dynamics of the situation have been hugely shifted and I couldn't have done it without the help of everyone here. This is the last thing I'll mention and it is probably pretty helpful in terms of where to go next. I noticed Sunday morning she went to church. She hasn't gone with me in a while, but we used to go all the time and then took about 500-mile drive to nowhere and then went back to her place. She hasn't done any suspicious activity either out of caution now or realization of her transgressions. I do actually believe the fact that she didn't have sex, but it doesn't matter because I already have enough info and don't need any more. I have already filed for divorce and she will be getting served within a week or two update. Alright. So a big part of my story has been the dog. We share about 2 weeks ago. I let her take care of our dog. And honestly, I just needed a break. I worked full-time and our dog was really struggling with his separation anxiety and I was too anyways. She recently returned our dog back to me full of fleas and asked if I would watch him again. Of course, I said I would, but we had a good conversation that followed this. If you remember from my story, she cheated on me with her flight instructor and I was financially and educationally supporting her in her flying since I am already a pilot. I had my suspicions that her rationale for cheating was that she began struggling while flying. And her instructor likely said something along the lines of you should pay more so you can fly more often because she asked me for more money to fly more often. Mind you, she was already flying 3 hours a week, which is around $750 a week. I'm sure when I put my foot down and said it wasn't the right move for our family, she decided she could just sleep her way into free lessons anyways. She told me I was controlling, manipulative and a narcissist for not spending more money so she could achieve her dream childish. Right. Fast forward to our discussion. Last Friday, I asked her how flying was going and she said she quit flying because it was too expensive and she needed to get my mind right. So she gave up on the entire reason. She destroyed our marriage and I have my suspicions that she and AP are not seeing each other anymore either because she mentioned that she was staying on a pull-out bed in a house with 6 people and 2 dogs. She is staying with one of her co-workers who is 40-something and living with her parents after also recently getting divorced in 2 short months. My wife went from having an incredible life where she didn't have to work, had a husband that financed her flight training in our own airplane. We could fly whenever to living in a house with 6 other people and working a job with which she could barely get by. Another dream that she gave up on was becoming a flight attendant at a major airline. She was actually called back to work in July and declined that opportunity. I asked her if she had reconsidered, but I have a lot of friends who work at the airline and she said she wouldn't feel comfortable if she ran into them while working. She still is without remorse. And I think she still believes I caused her to do all this. But reality is hitting and it is striking her hard. I've encouraged her to seek mental health help without her lashing out at me. And we have agreed to amicably come to a divorce agreement outside of the court. So things are looking up for me in this situation. It was my birthday yesterday and I am really lucky to have a great family and friends who wished me the best and have been there for me throughout this. The funniest thing WS said to me was, "You can keep all our mutual friends." She knows she effed up big time and is embarrassed to be around people who will know what she did. I move across the country in a little over a month for the military and hopefully will be starting a great new life. I just hope my STBXW gets the treatment she needs because she is falling into an unrecoverable tailspin. Update. It's been a while since I've updated everyone and, man. Has my life changed? I ended up moving to California and I have consistently gotten angrier and angrier at what she did. Now, I'm not really blaming her BPD anymore but more realizing how fallen of a human being she is. After some time in reflection, I came to see how terrible, deceitful and traumatizing her behavior was to me. But after crying and being sad for a couple of months, I got my airplane back and started doing things I enjoy. I flew across the country with my dad, spent a few days in Vegas, with some friends did some snow skiing and began a new job. I could finally enjoy life again. And in December, a weight was lifted as we finally came to a divorce agreement through mediation. While I'm not ecstatic about having to pay her money, it's a small price to pay to remove her toxicity from my life forever. The biggest surprise came this week. I found out I got selected to start pilot training. I couldn't believe it. I had tried and failed multiple times before, but my perseverance paid off. I don't know what my life has in store next. But I know this relationship/divorce was a major hardship to prepare me for better times ahead. I say all this to hopefully inspire people who are going through hell right now that there's a reason why you're going through it and eventually life does get better. I can't thank everyone on here enough for the support and encouragement through my toughest days. As you said, she is not your responsibility anymore. She lost that privilege when she walked out on the marriage. If she is or was in that bad of a mental state, then her first step should have been to come to you or see a therapist. Instead, she looked to outside companions and in the process ruined her marriage. She is now responsible for herself and that's the choice she made. She has her family and her new guide that can and will take care of her. You stand by your word, meet with her at the local park, let her spend some time with your dog and that's it. Don't let her get to you during that time. This moment can develop in any direction. Maybe she will be absolutely not interested in you and just wants to see the dog. Maybe she will try to lure you to talk to her. Keep your stance up, keep your answers short and always keep in mind how she treated you. Thanks for taking the time to listen to today's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already and comment below on what your thoughts are on today's story. If there is a story you would like to share with me about your own situation or someone else's, then please do not hesitate to contact me.